Welcome to the TAE Program Introduction webinar series. This webinar is the introduction to vocational education and training. The webinar learning outcomes are the student will explain the key features of VET and competency-based training and assessment, define VET terminology and the structure of VET. My name is Murray Humphrey and I'm going to be taking you through this session. I'm a trainer and assessor with Inspire Education and I look forward to taking you through this webinar with you, and I hope you find the information useful. This is an introductory webinar in relation to taking our students through the information about vocational education and training. It's important to understand that this is a requirement of the qualification. A lot of our students look at the vocational education and training terminology during the course and question what's the importance of it. In their eyes, they see this as being, I'm attending the course to become a trainer within an organisation, within my workplace. In relation to the course, you're getting a qualification that enables you to be a trainer in professional practice. And that qualification isn't unique. It's important to understand that the qualification is based on industry and their expectations. And it's all very important to understand that you may work within a trainer within an organisation, and you may also work as a trainer down the future or now in a registered training organisation, whether it be an organisation like Inspire Education or a TAFE. And the VET information, the knowledge that you need about the vocational education and training system is critical and part of the course requirements for you being a professional trainer in professional practice within the VET system. So please let me take you through some of the details in this webinar. Again, probably the first thing we need to understand, and I'll just clear myself from the screen there, is how do we define vocational education and training? And as you see there, vocational education and training, commonly referred as VET, is education and training for work, and is part of a broader educational network in Australia that includes schools, universities, and adult and community education. And that's defined from the website www.training.com.au. Should be. But more importantly for us in the VET system, it's about training for work. It's training in the workplace. In relation to vocational education and training, when we talk about vocational, it is about the workplace. And historically, this whole system has a strong path from commencing back in the 1960s, where industry was looking for consistency, uniformity within the training requirements. And then the government took that on board, and through the 60s through to the current time and moving forward, it is now a national network in relation to vocational education and training. And I want to identify for you, in relation to understand VET, it is about the industry within all the national industries that we have in Australia, and again coordinating the system through government agencies. And you're going to see that whole influence come through in the coming slides. The key features of VET for the vocational education and training system is, as I talked to you earlier, it is designed by industry. The whole VET system is a national system, and it's very important that the industries, and there are any number of industries, health industry, business services, we have the financial services industry, all get behind VET. And it's about the hundreds and thousands of workplaces, organisations and companies that represent those industries that the vocational education and system is about. Again, it's important to understand that it's nationally recognised. that any qualification that you undertake within that's issued by a registered training organisation or an RTO is nationally recognised. From what we talk about is the AQF, and we're going to talk about that in more detail. So that you can take, if you get a qualification through a vet training provider, it's recognised within all states and territories in Australia. And finally, it's very important that a key feature of the vocational education and training system is it's client focused. I talked to you about it's designed by industry. As I said, the knowledge and skills have been designed for all the roles within an industry. The important thing is that you understand is that the system is able to be flexible and can be adapted to fit the hundreds and thousands of workplaces that are representative of each industry group. And this is what I want to say about these key features of VET. What you've got is a national system that has rigor. It sets its training and assessment against benchmarks in relation to the training and the assessment you're doing. And more importantly, it has the flexibility to be tailored to one individual workplace within a particular industry group. So that is really the beauty of the VET system. A fantastic system that has rigor and it's very robust in relation to the benchmarks and the way it's documented and set up. And again, giving the freedom, the flexibility of a workplace to train at particular individuals to get a national recognised accreditation or qualification that they can go on and use in the workplace straight away. So it's a very good system. Moving on, competency-based training and assessment. Very, very important to understand the vocational education system. What does competency mean? It's the ability to perform a particular task or function to a standard expected in the workplace. And again, that whole theme that I'm talking about, it's the ability to work in the workplace. And when we talk about a particular function, task or function to a standard expected, we're talking about competency standards. And they're the benchmarks that I was talking about earlier. And the definition for competency standards is a document that describes the requirements for how a particular workplace task is to be performed in VET. These are the units of competency. In relation to taking the units of competency, we're going to go in more detail in another webinar in this introduction webinar series. We're going to look at what a training package is, what a qualification is, and what a unit of competency is in detail. And we'll be unpacking that as well as complementing with where you find the information through the public domain database called training.gov.au. Very important, just want to go back to that point of competency, the ability to perform a particular task or function to the standard expected in the workplace. And I want to highlight for you there are two outcomes in a competency-based training and assessment system: competent or not yet competent. And it's about the individual within that workplace, within that industry, being able to do a task or function when they're ready. Okay, and that's very important. And that is our job as a trainer assessor to determine that competency within the VET system. Continuing on, the competency-based training and assessment. It's about, again, some points here. Focus is on what a person can do, not how they learnt it. It's about the outcome. It's about being able to train them and then assess them, and when they're able to pick up the knowledge and skills and attitude, which we'll talk in a moment, to do a task or function in the workplace. The assessment is based on meeting benchmark criteria. As I said to you, the competency, the standards we talk about are the units of competency. And as I said to you, this is I call that the beauty of it. It gives you a rigor. It gives you a framework in which each industry has a training package, which has qualifications, that then has units of competency that clearly set out for the learner and the the candidate when they're assessed, as well as the trainer, on what those benchmarks are. Also very important, I talked about earlier, we have in relation to competency can be through a training and assessment pathway. Also, that third point there, recognition of current competence, allows for assessment-only pathways. So when we talk about competency, the VET, Vocational Education and Training System, allows people to who may have a large years of experience within a particular industry, have knowledge and skills that can be recognised. So rather than training and then assessing them, we can then say candidates can approach registered training organisations and get recognition of the experience of that knowledge and skills through an assessment process. So again, it's very flexible, and again, it's about the individual performing tasks and roles within the workplace. And if they have the knowledge and skills, why is it important to do a training activity? Again, it gives the flexibility and freedom to recognise the knowledge and skills of the individuals. Again, the competency base is flexible and personalised delivery. I've already touched on that. It has the ability, again, competency-based assessment is all about the individual in the workplace within a particular industry. And it's also very important that our competency-based training assessment has immediate application, that they can, whether it be a training and assessment pathway or a recognition pathway, they have the ability to take the knowledge and skills and implement it into the workplace in the shortest time possible. So again, that is a very important aspect. Moving through this, I'm just going to remove myself from the so we can see this slide in more detail. As you can see there, visualizing competence. How do we do that? We talk about, this slide is very important in relation to about competence is about being able to do to be able to do a task or function within the workplace. And it encompasses, in the center there, you can see the details of the knowledge. Go back up, I missed that, sorry about that. We talk about the knowledge, skill, and attitudes. So when we talk about competence, we need to make to ensure that a person has the knowledge, has the information and the details to apply of the workplace organisational guidelines, how to do a job. And then secondly, they then have the skill to take that knowledge on what they know and to apply it in their workplace, to do the activities, to do the tasks in the workplace. And finally, that we have the ability or the attitude that they're confident in that knowledge and skill to do that in the workplace, as well as a willingness to do those knowledge and skills and the tasks and those functions within the workplace. So again, we look at, you'll hear people talk about knowledge and skills, but it's also about the attitude, about having that knowledge and skill that they're comfortable, or more than anything, that they're confident to undertake those knowledge and skills for a particular task or function in the workplace. And it's more than the knowledge and skills and attitudes. Outside of that, there are 4 components, and these are called the dimensions of competency. The four things that we've got on the outside of this diagram is the task skills, the task management skills, the job environment skills, and the contingency management skills. The first thing I want to talk about in relation to knowledge, skills, and attitudes is that the person can do the task. It may be, for example, a task skill is that they can use a photocopier, that they're able to turn the machine on, turn it off, able to do a photocopy. And that in its simple, and that one activity is what we call, or event is called a task skills. But outside of that, competence is more than that. It's also being able to handle the task management skills that are associated with the task skills. It's been able to multitask. It's been able to do other knowledge and skills that would also be associated with the use of being able to use a photocopier. Again, we're talking about probably the things that I talked previous is being able to look after the machine. Again, the being able to do other tasks that are expected them in relation to not only doing a single task, but the other tasks that may be associated with a particular activity in the workplace. The next one I need to talk about is the job role environment skills. And that encompasses being able to work to the expectation with others in the workplace. Not only are they able to manage the task and also the associated tasks around the knowledge and skills for a task or function, they're able to work to be accountable and responsible for a number of activities and also work in line with the expectation of others. Being able to understand the guidelines and the policy and procedures that are involved with those task skills. And the final one about visualizing competence is understanding what the contingency management skills are in relation to that competence. And what we're talking about there is what happens in relation to a particular task. If something goes wrong, how do I handle that? How do I manage it? It's like the what ifs. If I'm doing a photocopy, the task skill is I need to make appointments and I use Microsoft Outlook. If the Microsoft Outlook fails, the computer system fails, how am I still able to make appointments? Again, there would be contingency management skills, that there's some sort of manual recording system that you know and understand as being a part of that task skill. So again, all these things that we're talking about need to be looked at when we're being as trainers and assessors. It's more than just being competent in the task skills, in those essential knowledge and skills and attitudes. We need to look at the dimensions of the competency that are associated with it. As we move down through this, again, I really want to highlight, this is the beauty of VET. As I talked to you, it's a industry-driven, it's a national focus, and it's about a particular workplace, a client-focused. And within an organisation that may be represented of hundreds or thousands within an industry, it's important to understand that a workplace has workplace standards in which we are able to train and assess against. The VET system allows the rigor of benchmarks, but it also has the flexibility to be adapted to the individual workplace standards in relation to